This is Bill North of the Florida Weekend Warriors, and some weekends you just got to do a little bit of boat maintenance. As you can see, we had a little bit of a hydraulic leak on our SeaStar system, and in this video we're going to change out these seals, and I'll explain all the stuff you're going to need, show the basic install of changing the seals out, and explain why we're trying to do this ourselves. So stay tuned. So I've had hydraulic steering on boats for about 25 years, and I've had the seals changed out maybe 5 or 6 times at the dealer. It was always like $200 or $300. It was easier for them to do it than me, and I didn't have the tool to take the seal off. So took it to the dealership, the Yamaha dealership on Longboat Key, and he called me back and he said it was going to be $2,200. And it just did not make any sense to me. He said the whole unit had to be changed because the shaft was pitted. And it didn't make any sense to me because the boat has 400 hours on it and it stays in this garage. So I declined to have them fix it and decided to do it myself and get the parts. So here's some of the stuff you're going to need. I ordered this seal kit from Dometic. Dometic purchased SeaStar in 2017. It's I got the 5157 because it comes with this wrench. If you get the one that is 5167, it's the same exact kit, but doesn't come with the wrench. Also, some of the other stuff that I got this puller. You can purchase this on Amazon or directly from Marine Tech Tools. To be able to pull off this part here, sometimes that gets stuck on the shaft. And to keep from damaging it, you need a puller to pull it off. And I also got a bleeder kit. You can buy all the Marine Tech tools on Amazon. This bleeder kit came from also marinetech.com, and apparently you can also order these OEM seals from marinetech.com. I did not know that at the time, and I got my kit from Sim Yamaha, which is a Yamaha dealership up in, I think, Michigan. They're a great dealership, and you usually get about 15% off the MSRP on all the parts. So some of the other stuff you're going to need, according to the instructions, 2 quarts of the hydraulic fluid. You're going to need something to lube the tilt tube, thing of rags. You're going to need some old clothes. You're probably going to get hydraulic fluid all over you and something to collect the hydraulic fluid. And you're going to need the instructions. This is the instructions for mine. You can see I circled my model number, but when I started reading the instructions, since I have the power assist, you're going to need these instructions instead to bleed the system. So, and when I got this home to look at it, and the dealer said that the shaft was pitted, I couldn't find anything on the shaft. In fact, I thought they were screwing with me. But I eventually found what they were talking about. On both sides, there was this tiny little bump right on the very top of the shaft. I guess that's where water sits. So there was a calcium buildup or something that was sitting there, some kind of corrosion. You couldn't even see it, but you could feel it with your fingernail when you went up and down the shaft. It was only on the very top on both sides. So I just got a piece of emery cloth. You can buy this from Napa Auto Parts. It's basically sandpaper for metal, and it's really fine. And you just go over the spot like you're buffing a shoe to get that little spot off. And it came right off. And we're gonna go ahead and change these seals out and see if it fixes the problem, and hopefully it doesn't tear the new seals. To do this job, you're going to need 2 people. You can't really do it by yourself. The shaft, you need a person on both sides of the motor because that shaft will spin if you only try to tighten or loosen one side. You need a person on the other side. And then plus you need 2 people when you go to bleed it. One person's got to hold the unit still while the other person steers the steering wheel. So let's get started. The first thing you want to remember when you're doing this job is to not undo any of the nuts first. It's kind of counterintuitive, but you want to crack this seal loose first and do these last after you crack it loose. Because once you get these loose, the whole thing's loose and you can't get any leverage to crack it loose. So I know it doesn't really look like you'd want to do that, but that's what you need to do. You need to crack this loose, then undo these. So here's the wrench that comes with the OEM kit. You'll notice It's got a little square here. That's to put a wrench on it to torque it once you put the new ones on. Now Marine Tech Tools also has a wrench that's a little nicer than this one. And altogether, all this stuff, it was about 300 bucks for all this stuff. There's actually a kit on Amazon for only 50 bucks. And it comes with a wrench and a puller. But it's got really bad reviews. Well, they're mixed reviews. So I don't know if the people didn't install the seals right, or their shafts were damaged and they didn't deal with that issue and just put the seals on anyways. But several people said that the tits on the tool broke right off, and that the puller wasn't very good either. So I went ahead, spent the money, because this is such an important part, and got OEM stuff and the proper tools. So let's see if we can get this one shaft off. Now the instructions say to push down to unscrew. Let's see if we can get this thing off. There it goes. I got it. So this one, yeah. Let's go up. There it goes. Now that we got those loose, we're going to go ahead and crack these loose, these nuts here, and take these sides off. So here's where you need two people. You need a person on this side to hold this nut, because this shaft here will just spin. And then you need someone over on this side. So we're going to try to film this. You ready? There it goes. Hopefully we can crack this loose. There it goes. Is yours going? Or is it just spinning?
No, it's not spinning.
Yes, it is. It's spinning.
Oh, the bar is spinning, yes.
The whole bar is just spinning. So I used a heavy rubber, some vice grips, and I was able to break it loose. And hopefully I didn't damage the shaft. All right. There we go. Take this. Oh, yeah, there it goes. That's all it took. Let's see if we can get these other bolts off. So it was a 5/8 wrench for here. And this side is a 3/4, so hopefully this one comes right off. There it goes. That came off. Pretty simple. So we got the puller on there. So we just gotta tighten this, and hopefully that thing slides right off. After letting it set for about 15 minutes with some penetrating oil, I just used some corrosion block. I had some PB Blaster, but I couldn't find it. So I was able to crack it loose. Finally, so it is coming off. So I'm glad I had this puller. I never would have been able to get this thing off without the puller, because it's coming, but it's fighting me the whole way. And there's this little grease fitting, but obviously it didn't help. Now I probably could have changed the seals out without taking this side off, but I want to take it off because and lubricate it, or else it's going to be frozen on there forever. See all the corrosion on the end of that shaft right there? That's why I couldn't get it off. What was happening was this is indented and it was bottoming out against the base of the bracket. So I stuck a bunch of tacky grease on there and stuck a nut in the middle to help push the rod to get it just enough so I could get it off. So you can see that corrosion there needs to be cleaned up badly. So I'm glad I got it off. This side came right off. There's a grease fitting right there. We'll just kind of leave this. We need to pull this rod out and grease it before we put it back in. So this side came off without the puller. So I'm going to go ahead and loosen this. Get the oil out of here. See if we got a little catch thing down there to take it off. Catch some of the oil. Now this kit comes with a cone to put on this, so when you slide the new one on, you don't damage the seal when you slide it on. A bunch of oil is going to splash out when I get this loose. The fluid looks pretty good. So here's the old seal, and we're just going to slide a new one on. So you just put this protective cone on here so it doesn't damage the threads. Put it on like that and you just slide the new seal on. Just like that. And we tighten it up. I need the wrench. Now we just got to put the seal on the other side. Put the cone on, and it just slides right on. There it goes. There it goes. See all the corrosion that's all built up right where that part went on? So we're going to take a piece of emery cloth and buff it out, clean it up. You can see that cleaned up really nice. Got all the corrosion off. I'm going to do the emery cloth to the inside of this part, right here. And then get all the grit out of it. And it's time to put everything back together. Now before we put this all back together, to put some red tacky grease in the tilt tube. Make sure this thing is good and lubed. All right. There we go. The last thing we need to do, we need to change the little O-ring that's on the bleeder, and there's 4 different sets of them depending on your model number. We're model number 5345, which if you look down here, these are for different model numbers. So we need this one here, number 6. So all that's left to do is to bleed the system. So there's a bunch of different methods depending on which unit you have and whether it's a single helm or a double helm or a single engine or a double engine, or if you have power steering. So we decided to get this bubble bleed kit, which basically you open up the bleeders on each side and just circulate the steering wheel back and forth and bleed all the air out. So we're not really going to use the instructions. So we're hoping this kit works out. And it doesn't, because the other way, it makes a huge mess and fluid goes everywhere. So let's try it. So all we do is we put these quick connect fittings on the bleeders. We crack the bleeders open about half to a full turn. And you snap this on like this. And then we should see the fluid come through here. And you have to have the fill kit for the helm station. It's a must, or else it makes a huge mess. I'll show you what that looks like. So here's the filler tube you need. This screws into the helm unit, and this end screws into the bottle so you don't spill any fluid. You just screw it on, and then screw it on to the helm unit. And bring a bunch of rags. So we got it screwed on there. We got our tube up here. And you can see all the fluid now is draining in there. It's supposed to take 2 quarts. You can also put a pinhole in this to help it breathe if the fluid stops going. Still bubbles?
I haven't seen any in a while.
You just keep going back and forth until all the bubbles are gone. You go about 30 turns in each direction. I'm getting bubbles up here. It took about 10 or 15 minutes to bleed all the bubbles out of the system using the bubble kit. Basically what you're doing is you're taking the bubbles from the back and forcing them out of the helm. And you can see all the bubbles come up through this tube here in the bottle. So a couple of quick tips. We actually didn't need 2 quarts. We only used about 2/3 of a bottle because we only opened up the back. And also it's really helpful if you have something hold the bottle up. I just used some blue tape and I poked a little hole at the bottom here so it drain easier. So that was about it. We hope you liked this video and found it helpful. Please leave a comment, subscribe, and we will see you guys on our next adventure. See ya.